And Formula One is underway for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Hey, I'm Serenity and welcome back to another episode of Pit Stop Sweets and Treats, where we make one dessert inspired by our hosting country on the F1 circuit calendar. I officially have run out of all shirts of F1 merch that I own, only sweaters, and it's 98 degrees in Texas, so I'm not wearing that. So we're doing F1 adjacent shirts now until the new merch I've ordered comes in. So this week it is round 13 of the Belgian Grand Prix, and today we're going to be making Belgian chocolate mousse, which is light and airy as a chocolate dessert. So we're going to start by beating 2 eggs whole, which is a little confusing to me because usually it'd be like egg whites as we learn about the history of this dessert. So I'm going to be using just my electric beater, and we're going to beat these on high for 3 minutes. Belgium is actually home to some of the best chocolate in the world, where chocolatiering has been a actual career since the 17th century. The country is known for having some of the best chocolate because of their dedicated chocolatiers who have this ability to create amazing flavor profiles. Mousse is a dessert actually originating in France because the word mousse is a direct translation from French, which means foam. It gets its name from its light and airy texture and can be traced back to the 18th century, starting as a savory dish such as goat cheese mousse or salmon mousse. It is said that the first documented event where a chocolate mousse was served, it was at the royal wedding between Prince Anne of Austria and King Louis VIII of Spain. During the 19th century, the mousse finally was more well known as a dessert dish, and it grew in popularity quickly. Our eggs have been beaten for 3 minutes, so now we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of granulated sugar and mix this well. So this dessert is not wholeheartedly of Belgian origin. It is the perfect fusion dessert, known best because Belgian chocolate is regarded as some of the best quality chocolate in the whole world, and it is traditionally what is used to make chocolate mousse. This is now light and airy, so we are gonna leave it and go to the stove behind me to make our cream, basically. So my stove is now electric, so bear with me. I'm gonna put it on a 5 out of 8, and we're gonna heat up 1 cup of whipping cream in a saucepan over medium until it becomes fast, while we learn about some track history and facts. The first Belgian Grand Prix was held in 1950 and is more well known as Spa, where often it rains. While the race has been part of the maiden championship since 1950, it has hosted a non-championship Grand Prix since 1924. So 26 years earlier, the original circuit was 15 kilometers in triangle length. While it is less than half the original length today, it is still the longest track on the current calendar. It is the half home race of Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and Lance Stroll, as all are half Belgian on their mom's side respectively, which is absolutely insane to me that it's all their mom's side and they all race under where they were born and their father's flags. Quick facts, the circuit is 7.004 kilometers in length and has a total of 44 laps. When the race is complete, the drivers will have traveled 308.052 kilometers in distance. The current lap record is held by Sergio Checo Perez from his 2024 lap at 1 minute 44 seconds, 0.701 hundredths of a second. That is the basic history of Spa, and it most always is going to be a wet race. So let's talk about this week's news. There are 2 main stories I want to cover right now, but we also need to go over the last race because it's been 3 weeks. So the previous news is we found out that Nico podium and Norris won Silverstone, and I have watched that race 4 times now. And the biggest news that we all should be cheering about, Christian Horner was fired as team principal and CEO. Finally, this is great news for me, which it's worth noting that this either means Max is leaving or he would not resign his contract for Red Bull if Horner was still there. But remember, he wasn't fired for allegations against his female employee last year that upset so many people. It was because the team was underperforming, not because he was sexually harassing multiple employees, including when the last worker was doxxed and her livelihood in motorsports that she worked so hard for was taken away. And also we need to call back to that Lewis, there's trouble on someone's getting fired because we knew it was gonna happen. All right, the cream is hot. We're gonna bring in the hot cream over here and pour half of it into the egg mixture and then stir this quickly. This is to temper our eggs. So when we put all the cream, it does not curdle them. Now we're going to add all the cream into our saucepan, the egg cream mixture. Stir this around. We're going to go back to the stove to cook this on low for 5 minutes. Just do not want to bring this to a boil. So after the mousse broke, remember this is last year, the harassment, his wife, Ginger Spice, and his daughter were seen at the next races putting up this united front look. So remember, this sport has always used women as props to prop up men in their career. And that could be a whole other video on aspects of female representation. Let's also not forget that during the 2021 championship against Lewis, he was heading the racism against Lewis. I think it's also worth noting that we need to stop giving predators nicknames. You know, like Diddy freak-offs have turned into like this youth of it for having a good night, even though it was horrible what happened to these women. The same as Christian Murray. Why? Horn dog, all this stuff. No, he assaulted a woman. That's enough. And the second major piece of news I wanted to talk about was the McLaren Technology Center is the headquarters for Fantastic Four in the movie. And I know that Disney Plus sponsorship is coming soon because the MTC is also the Star Wars Andor somewhere in that show. So let's go ahead and talk about feminism in the hosting country. It's time to get a little dark, but as a woman in motorsports, I'm sure you're used to this. So I'm reading this book, I don't know, can you say it over here, faster? And it deals with sports tourism and how countries use large sporting events to cover up sinister things happening in their country. The best examples of this would be the Olympics being held in the United States in 2028. My degree is also in women, gender, and sexuality studies, and I thought I'd bring my educational background into this series to see how this is happening before our eyes in each week's hosting country. Belgium in the 19th century was deeply in patriarchal norms, and women had very few rights and confined to domestic labor such as homemakers and stay-at-home moms. The rise of industrialization and urbanization brought the emergence of feminist movements. It wasn't until the 19th century and early 20th century when women's suffrage movements emerged. They focused first on women's access to education, legal reforms, then their right to vote. So they didn't immediately get to the right to vote. Belgium was actually the second to last European country to introduce a women's suffrage movement. The last one was actually Greece. In 1919, women who were mothers of widows of servicemen who died in World War I, female prisoners who were held as prisoners of war, and women and widows of citizens shot by the enemy were the ones to get the right to vote first. We want this to be thickening up here. 1920. All Belgian women except W workers were granted the right to vote in municipal elections. Then in 1948, all women were granted the right to vote in parliament elections. We're going to take it off our heat and add in 6 ounces of at least 70% cocoa chocolate and mix until this has melted. And it should happen pretty quickly. It is well incorporated, so I'm just going to add it to a separate bowl so it actually stops the cooking process. Then I'm going to cover it with one of these full covers, and we're going to refrigerate this for 2 hours before we come back and make the whipped cream that's actually going to make this nice and airy. So it has been 2 hours, and our cream is still in the fridge resting, like the chocolate mixture, but in a cold frozen bowl, I'm going to pour in 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, more whipping cream, and we are just going to beat this with an electric hand mixer on high until stiff peaks form. Now we're just going to take the chocolate mixture that has cooled and add it into here, and we're going to fold this in until it is just combined. So to fold, you go around, cut, around, cut, around to cut. And I'm scraping the bottom of the bowl. During the 1970s to 1980s, the women's movement continued to advocate for gender equality in spaces such as workplace education and politics. During the 1990s to 2000s, Belgium continued to promote gender equality and the women's rights legislation addressing issues such as gender-based violence, pay equity, and representation of women in decision-making positions along with work-life balance politics. The number of women in politics have been on the rise and go hand in hand with Belgium's heavy attempt at closing workforce gender gap. Belgium is ranked 12 out of 146 on the 2024 Global Gender Gap Index. I just am going to place the mousse in a piping bag, so it's easier to pipe. You can just scoop this into your cups. I'm also going to lay out some plastic cups. These are 9 ounces, and I'm using a 1 ml tip, and I'm just going to pipe these into my cups. Now, I honestly have no idea how many servings this is going to make. Probably not as much as I thought, which is fine. And finally, I have little like shaved pieces of chocolate from the same chocolate bar, just a separate one, and I'm going to just top each of our mousses with the shaved pieces. I just used a veggie peeler to do this, just like you would shave your veggies of the skins. It's exactly how I did. And there we go. Let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm gonna go with the little one right here. Yeah, it's great. I mean, you'd expect it to be great. It somehow has this like light flavor. I actually would prefer it to be even a darker chocolate because I love dark chocolate. But it's so light and airy, obviously. It'd be a great cake filling. I think I might use some of these for cake filling. It doesn't feel heavy at all. So my Belgian friends, this is going to be a 10 out of 10 wild boar. This is phenomenal. Yeah, I think that's the first 10 I've given this year. It kind of has like that light coffee flavor. Remember when everyone was whipping that coffee? It has that texture. It's so good. So quickly, let's do race predictions. I've only seen FP1 and Sprint quality to this point because these are filmed on Fridays. So I have no idea what the starting grid looks like. I have no idea who wins the sprint. I will say Norris is winning because after Silverstone, he got another nose scar. And I've seen this prophecy before. I've seen this film before. And I like the ending. Last time when that happened, I think he won Miami. It was Miami. Yes. I get it confused because it was like Dutch. It was King's Day and then it was Miami. Yeah. So he's winning, obviously. Gotta win both of your home races. I want Alex points, George P2, probably. I'm not sure, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna put Verstappen up there, but I'm also gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if Lewis ends up on that podium because he is the king of mastering wet conditions. So if Ferrari can actually get it right this time, he'll be up on there. And I think that'll be his first podium this season. And as always, let's do meme of the week. Now, there are so many memes to get through, like buckle in, because Horner got fired. Oh, these memes are about to be good. I'm gonna have to mute this because last time I did get copyrighted for playing audio, even though I changed the sound pitch. But this is Album doing that dance of that kid who's doing the, I don't know, on the boat. You know the one. It's taken the motorsports world by storm. And this is the background with Christian Horner. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. Oh my God. I didn't even tell you guys where I was. I was awake. The 4 a.m. notification hit like, oh, it was so good. Because insomnia, one time it came in handy. This is me clicking every button about him getting sacked. Here are these memes. I'm sorry, no one mourns the wicked. Marco is next. It's just too good. This is my favorite thing ever. If you got a problem, change your effing team. Team boss. Oh, it's so good. Also, Norris, Piastri, and Hulkenberg. Is that not them? And then finally, of course, Lewis predicting the job market again. He's driving that tractor and he's predicting the market. They're fabulous, you guys. They're fabulous. But yeah, that is all I have for you for this week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already to join me for the next 11 races left in the season. All my socials are linked down below if you want to follow me. And I will see you next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix with another authentic dessert. Love you, mini kisses, don't think stupid. I'll see you next time. Bye.
And it's lights out and away.